If you've played the other Legacy of Kain games, you might start Blood Omen 2 expecting a mind-bending story, with rich, layered dialogue and fascinating characters. Blood Omen 2 does not have those.
What?
If you're interested to know what happens in this side story but don't want to invest the 14 to 15 hours necessary to do so, this video is for you. I played it so you don't have to. Let's begin. After history reshuffles at the end of Soul Reaver 2, we see Kain's new memories. After his choice at the Pillars, he raises an army to conquer Nosgoth. By his side are Vorador, who has now somehow survived Mobius's vampire purge, and an earlier generation of vampire lieutenants. Only one obstacle remains to his total domination: Meridian. A mysterious figure calling himself the Seraphan Lord rules over the city and meets Kain on the field of battle. Kain's lieutenants have deserted, and his ancient blade, the Soul Reaver, has no effect on the Seraphan Lord. Kain is defeated. However, his unlife continues. 200 years later, he awakens in the city of Meridian with a severely fractured memory and a massive headache, tended by Uma.
Good evening.
A vampire of indeterminate age who apparently never gets cold. She and the rest of the Cabal, the vampire resistance, have nursed Kain back to health. Unhealth? And now seek his help to defeat the Seraphan Lord, a task for which Kain is only too eager, in the literal sense, as he has weakened considerably. We'll jump right by the series precedent that vampires in torpor for centuries tend to get much stronger instead of weaker. Gotta have that whoops, lost your powers scenario. Uma rather reasonably suggests to Kain that he needs more strength to challenge his nemesis, and Kain chafes at this and wants to get it done now. We feel you, King. She also tells Kain that some vampires now serve the Seraphan Lord, and that only makes him angrier.
I look forward to meeting these traitors to our kind.
Uma speaks to Kain using the Whisper, a telepathic means of communication specific to vampires that we see literally nowhere else in the series. After a number of contrived tutorial lessons in which we are teased with getting our helpless victims back,
Spare me the moral anecdote and direct me to his throat.
I see you are restored.
I am.
Uma shows Kain a glyph barrier.
Should you so much as touch it, you will be burned as by fire.
The glyphs are powered by mysterious energy that the Seraphan harness for all kinds of things, from electricity for common everyday tasks, or keeping vampires out of places they're not supposed to be conveniently enough.
Vampire!
They get separated by one of these glyph gates, and she tells him to find sanctuary.
You must find a way to reach the lower city.
Kain finds a few humans loyal to the Cabal who point him towards the smuggler's den.
As squalid as you found the slums, you will find this place even more offensive.
After finding his way through the den, Kain runs into Faustus,
Do you remember me, Kain, who served you so well?
a former lieutenant and indifferent sort who now serves the Seraphan Lord. Ever the opportunist, Faustus joined up after Kain's defeat. Understandable, I guess. Kain defeats him with the help of some boilers and devours his soul, gaining the ability to perform sick long jumps, with a really neat sound effect. Like a loose turd, Kain continues through the bowels of the city. He reunites with Uma, who again directs him to Sanctuary, now to meet their leader.
Ah, yes, the mysterious leader.
Kain comes across a mess of corpses, slaughtered by a mysterious and comically sadistic vampire wholly uninterested in his, admittedly somewhat hypocritical, admonitions.
You're a sloppy butcher, vampire. You jeopardize your presence by such bloodletting.
I'd forgotten how much I loathe your arrogant tone. Good night.
After encountering more helpful and unhelpful humans,
Move along and stop wasting my time.
We'll meet again.
he finds Sanctuary and meets the leader of the vampire resistance, who turns out to be
Vorador.
who has become Vampire Dad. A lackey bursts in and screams that Uma's been captured, is being held at the Seraphan Keep, and has critical information for Vorador. Kain leaves to speak to the Bishop of Meridian to find out how to get inside. In the upper city, Kain encounters Marcus, who can control minds. Not his, though.
What? Impossible.
They both race to find the bishop, but Marcus beats Kain there and takes control of the bishop.
The bishop will tell you nothing while he remains under my power, and you will never catch me.
Marcus leads him on a chase through the area to the roof of the cathedral, where a questionably placed stained glass window gives way. Kain defeats Marcus, gaining his ability to control some humans. The bishop proclaims his gratitude and shows Kain the way into the Seraphan Keep. Inside, Kain finds ceiling-high murals depicting his defeat at the hands of the Seraphan Lord. No one remembers Kain, though. He finds Uma and asks her for her information, but not trusting Kain, she refuses to give it until she is safely back at Sanctuary. He pokes around for a minute or two and frees her, and they encounter the Seraphan Lord, all gloaty and bloaty, wielding the Soul Reaver and spouting generic antagonist dialogue.
Dare you to challenge me again?
Uma teleports them away before their doom. In Sanctuary, Uma reveals that she found a portal in a large chamber powered by a magic stone that she thinks is the Nexus Stone.
The Nexus Stone.
The Nexus Stone. What is this thing? Explain.
This stone enables teleportation and protects its wearer against the Soul Reaver. And
the Seraphan Lord wore the stone when he defeated you 200 years ago.
What?
Kain infiltrates the industrial quarter to find the stone. A couple of absolute muppets play with explosives.
Come on, won't do any harm.
And inside the chamber, Kain finds Sebastian, who betrayed Kain to the Seraphan Lord 200 years ago out of ambition and not much else.
Did you think I would serve while you ruled Noskov? You and not I?
Okay, side note here. He's an absolute bullshit boss. Anyway, Kain defeats Sebastian, and Sebastian reveals that the Nexus Stone powers a portal to a mysterious device under the city, but he doesn't know its purpose. Why does he share this info that moves the plot forward? Out of spite.
I die happy in the knowledge that all your efforts will be wasted.
Oh, Sebastian.
Kain absorbs Sebastian's soul and gains the power to hit real fast. He grabs the Nexus Stone and escapes. Kinda. Back at Sanctuary, after a much shorter bout of unconsciousness, Kain tells Vorador and Uma about the device, and they send him to the canyons on the outskirts of the city to find the Seir, an ancient being who might be able to tell Kain more about the device if it truly exists. Weird critters live outside the city and feed on soldier and peasant alike. Kain still finds them tasty, though. In a cabin at the end of the canyon, he finds the Seir.
Begone, Dark One.
A strange, scantily clad and weirdly horny creature, the likes of which he's never seen before. But we have, if we've played Soul Reaver 2. She tells him that the device under the city will soon unleash its destruction upon the land. She gives Kain the ability to telekinetically manipulate the locks on the device by drinking her blood, which she enjoys far too much.
Yes, drink, my dark prince.
The Seraphan Lord's forces surround her rustic little cabin, and she teleports Kain directly to the device.
How convenient.
Using his new power, Kain enters the device and discovers the Beast, a creature enslaved by the dark powers behind the Seraphan to feed the impossibly ancient device with his life force.
Kain?
He recognizes and is very pleased to see Kain, but Kain doesn't remember him.
That you can return from the dead gives hope to us all.
He very helpfully tells Kain that the only being that can help him destroy the device, its builder, is held in the Eternal Prison, where time stands still.
I have heard of such a place.
Kain travels to the Eternal Prison and gets a lecture from the ghostly warden about not disturbing the work the inmates are doing perfecting themselves, by getting crushed with blocks and eaten by spiders, I guess. Kain listens as well as he usually does and plows ahead. Deep inside the prison, he encounters a mad vampire.
Where is my meat? Sopping with blood, running with gore.
An occasionally verbose monstrosity with very specific needs.
1,400 ounces every day!
And a slight case of invulnerability. Realizing there's no winning the fight at the moment, Kain runs away until he finds an opportunity to knock the monster into the water.
Water is not my friend!
Whatever it is, it's not dead yet, and rampages around the prison as Kain searches for the builder. Kain finds him in a hanging cell and convinces him to talk with that easy way of his.
I require information.
The builder, whose features are quite alien, neither human nor vampire, is only too happy to help, as long as Kain agrees to kill him. Win-win! He reveals the device was built for a great war between two races, and that it's powered by the Mass, an ancient creature capable of killing with thought alone. The Builder's race sought to turn this device against their enemies and eliminate all life but their own, but before it could be completed, he was imprisoned, and the rest of his people banished to the demon realm. Kain puts two and two together, and realizes the Seraphan Lord plans to use the glyph network in Meridian to distribute the creature's energy and kill all humans and vampires. The Builder gives Kain the means to kill the Mass, by which, yes, I mean his blood, which is fatally toxic to the creature. Kain keeps his promise and starts out of the prison. On his way out of the prison, the warden whines and complains that Kain has ruined everything.
Our great experiment for nothing.
Join the club. However, the mad vampire catches up to him.
I will destroy you with my mind!
Despite his mad ravings, he really is that powerful and can burn Kain to ash in a single attack if he doesn't take cover. After a long, multi-stage battle in which Kain telekinetically triggers a statue of Mobius to reconstruct itself and crushes the vampire with it, we learn that this was Magnus, the last of Kain's missing lieutenants, and his strongest warrior. Kain had assumed Magnus had deserted and betrayed him. However, Magnus had attempted to assassinate the Seraphan Lord and failed, was captured and was sent to the Eternal Prison and experimented upon.
Magnus, my champion, you have suffered long enough. It is with pride that I grant you your death.
Sire, my thanks.
Magnus sighs with relief as Kain releases him from his torment and gains his super neat incineration ability. Kain returns to the device, and the beast tells him the true nature of his captors and the Seraphan.
They are not of this world. They are called the Hilden, and their leader is, of course,
the Seraphan Lord.
He promises more exposition after the mass is destroyed. As Kain ventures into the device, he finds undisguised Hilden scientists and warriors milling about. He can drink their blood too. Yum. He finds the mass and kills it with a few drops of blood. Hooray. Kain returns to the surface and finds the beast transformed into the previously very dead Janos Audron. Enslaved by the Hilden, Janos's blood fed the mass, and he devolved into the creature we'd seen previously. Janos gives Kain a full-on history lesson.
What has this history lesson to do with my task at hand?
About the war between his race, the original vampires, and the Hilden. The vampires banished the Hilden to the demon realm and sealed them away with the Pillars of Nosgoth. However, their influence crept back into the world, corrupting mortal vessels little by little, until finally, the strongest could come through in full force after Kain's fateful decision. The Hilden general built a gate for the rest, and that gate sustains their presence in the world. Tell, don't show. Janos teleports Kain back to Sanctuary. And how is it that everyone can teleport but us? Where they meet with Vorador, who is most surprised to see his maker alive. In another long exposition dump, Janos tells Vorador and Uma and company the same things he just told Kain. The Hilden Gate is located in the Hilden City, naturally, but there is magic that prevents him from finding it and teleporting there. So the next level can happen. Uma says she's seen lots of activity at the wharves, so it must be across the sea. Kain volunteers to stow away aboard one of the ships, but Uma insists on going with, and Janos and Vorador insist too.
Take help where it is offered, Kain.
Kain is not pleased about this.
Yet I've always found that help offered when not needed is usually no help at all.
At the wharves, heavily guarded by the Seraphan's best and most thick, Uma asks Kain what his plans are after defeating the Seraphan Lord.
Then Meridian and all Nosgoth will become mine.
And the vampire resistance?
You may do whatever you wish, of course.
Of course.
What?
Do you take me for a fool?
You dare!
We are the only ones who could stand in your way. No, you will have to hunt us down and kill us. And how is that different from the rule of the Seraphan Lord?
Kain is quite put out. After lots of tough fights and being chased by a patrol boat shooting fire arrows, he finds Uma bleeding out after a huge battle with Seraphan guards, and reclaims the Nexus stone. She begs him to save her.
Do you believe that Nosgoth rightly belongs to me?
I do. I believe it, Kain. Please.
Then you may die, knowing the truth.
Kain helps the process along with his claws, and expresses some completely unearned grief.
You could have been my queen. Now, you have left me alone.
Dude, you killed her. After some fun with exotic species transport, Kain sails across the sea, and since he's eaten the crew of the ship, it crashes hard into the docks. So much for stealth. The Seraphan Lord, or Hilden General, shows up, and he and Kain trade meaningless barbs for a while.
This world is mine.
We will cleanse this world of your kind.
The general helpfully announces his evil plan, that his army is massing on the other side of the portal, and soon blah 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 blah. You've heard this all before.
Die.
Then the general swings the Soul Reaver, not seeing the huge stone on Kain's chest. He teleports away, leaving Kain to work his way through the Hilden City, encountering humans serving the Hilden who have always been there, yet somehow dress exactly like the people shipped in from Meridian, and terrifying beetle monsters who just want to rampage around and have fun. He destroys a robot-looking thing and brings down the shield. Janos and Vorador teleport in. Kain breaks the news about Uma to Vorador with his usual tact.
Were you too late?
No. She stole the Nexus stone from me. I killed her accordingly.
You did what?
And Vorador is extremely upset. Uma was basically his daughter, after all. Janos plays peacemaker just long enough to get Kain moving again. But the general shows up and knocks Vorador and Janos down with blasts from the Soul Reaver. Is Vorador alive? Just one more question we have about him now. Janos tells Kain he can close the portal by throwing the Nexus stone in, and he teleports him there. After a few last tasty helpless victims, Kain enters the building housing the portal and confronts the Hilden general, who trots out a ham-handed moral equivalency argument and taunts him about all the vampires who have betrayed him. Kain tells him that his latest spy, Uma, is dead.
Uma? I have no spy called Uma.
Mid-fight, Kain realizes he'll need to give up the thing protecting him in order to close the portal. He, well, does. Not a hard choice, really. It's what he's here to do, after all. Janos shows up for some more exposition. After a truly pathetic fight, Janos gets unceremoniously chucked into the swirling portal with, like, zero drama.
No! Kain!
Or music.
And now,
Or sync.
it is your turn.
Kain reclaims the Soul Reaver during the distraction. As the portal collapses around them, Kain and the Hilden general finish their battle. Kain defeats him, and he has to listen to a final villain monologue about the demon dimension giving them immortality, until he's had enough and gives the Soul Reaver a nice meal. Eat up, Raziel. The portal collapses completely, rebanishing all the Hilden, and Kain muses about what's next.
To the victor go the spoils. At last, Nosgoth would be mine.
And that's the end of Blood Omen 2. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more, do the things.